You say when. Hi, we're in Wingdale, New York. I'm with Pastor Tony Pacino. My name is Pastor Marty Schott. I'm over from Connecticut, of course, just about an hour away. But we're here at one of the original Baptist churches of the Danbury Baptist Association. And Brother Tony has a few words he wants to say about in regards to the history of his church here.
Well, this church was founded in 1757, and it is one of the oldest, second oldest actually, continuous active Baptist church in the state of New York. It's also the oldest church in Dover Plains, where the church is located in the hamlet of Wingdale, New York. Today, November 9th, is actually the 265th anniversary of the church, founded in 1757. And I was telling Evangelist Phibbs and Pastor Shaw here that when the church was founded, there was no United States. In fact, in this book, when we open up the first minutes of the church record, 1757 to 1844, we find that it states here that the church was founded in 1757 and there was no United States, so it states that it was in Pauling Precinct, York. First Church of Christ in Pauling Precinct, York, because there was no New York. There was no United States.
Wow.
And in 1795, the church incorporated and became the Baptist Church of Christ in Pauling Precinct, Dutchess County. And that's why when you go to the document of the 1801 Colebrook Danbury Baptist Association minutes, you find us listed as the first Pauling town. Just abbreviated our church. Now the list just abbreviated the names of the church. And then the second Pauling town was a sister church back then. And when the original founder and pastor of the church, he passed away in 1793, and he...
Right, and we're here in the pastor's parsonage, and he's invited me to come back up here sometime, for which I'm grateful. But do you mind to elaborate just for the many viewers about the connection to the Danbury Association and the letter about separation of church and state?
Sure, I would like to. Well, I did some research on the Danbury Baptist Association, and they drafted a letter which was sent to then President Thomas Jefferson, October 7th, 1801. Here is a copy of the original letter in quill pen.
Amazing.
And transcribed, and a copy of that is on this table somewhere over here. We misplaced it. Anyway, did I give that to you, brother?
Well, you gave me this book.
Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Here it is.
All right.
And what I would like to point out in this letter that the Danbury Baptists voted to send is that the reason why is because of religious persecution. I'm going to read the second sentence, and this is written to the President of the United States, and it says that religion is at all times and places a matter between God and individuals, that no man ought to suffer in name, person, or effects on account of his religious opinions, and that the legitimate power of civil government extends no further than to punish the man who works ill to his neighbor. And I have that in red there because nobody stops to read the letter that the Baptists actually wrote to President Thomas Jefferson. What they do is they read Jefferson's letter, and I think we call that pretext, don't we?
Sir. Yes, sir.
And they really need to take a look at what the
words,
Danbury Baptists...
Yeah, they were going through persecution, weren't they?
Yes.
Physical persecution.
Absolutely.
No.
In fact, the pastor of this first pastor rather of this church, his father, his name was Shubael Waldo. He became a separatist. He broke away from the Congregationalist church. and he and Thomas Marsh were punished and excommunicated from the Mansfield Baptist, or the Mansfield Church in Connecticut, which was a Congregationalist church. They were excommunicated.
May I break
Yes.
in here to ask this question? I know we could spend hours
Yes,
on this, and
a
you
lot of
have
history.
such
A lot of history here.
knowledge. I was going to ask this question. Do you, in your investigations and in your expertise, what was when President Jefferson responded, what was it, January the 1st, 1802, I believe it was. Do you believe that he was wanting to keep the influence of the church out of the state?
No.
Not at all,
Not
right?
at all. In fact, that's been twisted, that letter.
Yes, sir.
And there was a Supreme Court case in 1947 that went to that letter and kind of twisted it. But what they needed to do was to go back to the
Yes.
letter that was written by the Danbury Baptist Association, and then they would understand from the second sentence in the letter why the Baptists wrote. It was because they were being persecuted. I had no idea. I don't know how they got the idea that they wrote to remove, God and prayer and just Christian values from our society. That's not at all why they wrote. They were upset because the Congregationalist church could stop a person and ask for their certificate. In fact, if you go back to the Simsbury request, and they were the ones that brought it up at the 1801 Colebrook meeting. They brought it up. Is something that they have the right to do? And basically, they said no. They did not believe. Now, let me read it. Okay, here. This is the quarry.
Yeah.
Quarry from the church in Simsbury. Is it the duty of a dissenter to acknowledge the right of civil government, dictating in matters of religion, so far as to give a certificate to the clerk of a Presbyterian society of what religion they are of? Answer. We are of the opinion that it is oppression for one society to require certificates of another. But whether God requires us at this time to say, as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did in another case, quote, "Be it known to thee, O king, we will not," unquote, leave for the present for individuals to judge and to determine for themselves as they can answer it to God. And then they took a vote.
Mm-hmm.
The Danbury Baptists took a vote. 27 churches were represented. We had a deacon there. The church at that time did not have a pastor. And the fellow who represented us was a deacon. His name was Joseph Ellis. And his name is actually written in quill pen in here that he was sent to go to that meeting where they were going to write this letter to Thomas Jefferson. And they did. And they voted that Elder Royce, Wildman, Dodge, Nielsen, and Deacon Mills and Robbins be a committee to prepare an address to the President of the United States in behalf of this association. And this is taken directly from the Danbury Baptist Minutes on October 7th, 1801 at Colebrook, Connecticut.
Wow.
Wonderful. And we're going to follow up on this, Pastor, here with some more. We're going to get some video of the church.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing the simplicity to what has been made a confusing thing,
Yes.
and setting the record straight. I like that.
Well, Evangelist Phibbs, I appreciate you because you do not know how frustrated we have been. But the pastors have put this together with me because no one was listening to us. We even wrote to the president at the time, and we sent the letter on the exact day that the Baptist Association sent the first letter. That president was George Bush, but we did not receive any reply. And so it's sad that, the Danbury Baptists, I know, do not exist as an association, but many of the churches are still alive and thriving.
Well, thank for the
Thank you.
update. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.